The future of Battlefield is very exciting, and it's a fantastic time to be a Battlefield player. Trust me. We're going to dive into why in this video. The Battlefield 2042, from what I've been seeing, has been getting a lot of negativity recently, especially from players, creators alike. I want to touch on that a little bit today, and I want to put a different spin on it, or a different perspective, let's say. We'll dive deep in this video, and I will give you my opinion on the future of Battlefield and what I believe would be the best next steps for DICE to take, all with the best interest of the franchise at heart. A lot of the negativity that I'm seeing is coming from uncertainty surrounding Battlefield 2042. There are a lot of people who have just put down the game from boredom, pretty much. Playing the same maps day in, day out with the same weapons and with no news really of a future is hurting the community. Yes, we know Season 6 is on the way. It did get delayed, but we do have the Redux event right now for those, especially who missed the events the first time round. But for those who didn't miss them because they never stopped playing the game a lot like myself, it's starting to take its toll. Just clinging on for October is the hardest job some days. And yes, it is hurting the player base without a shadow of a doubt. You'll have probably noticed more AI bots in your lobbies than ever before. But once Season 6 and October comes, we'll get that usual player base spike. And then this is where it's going to get really interesting. So, Season 6 drops. The player base rises as it always does. The ball then is firmly in DICE's core. And this is, again, where a lot of the negativity... I don't really want to use the word negativity. It's more like fear or worry about the franchise because we don't know no more, and there's this overwhelming feeling that Season 6 is the end. DICE definitely have a number of scenarios here, and I can think of three. I'm not naive, so I'm very aware that DICE Stockholm are underway developing the next Battlefield. It happens as soon as they release the Battlefield, they're already on with the next one. Midway through the season, they announced that that is all, and they will be concentrating 100% on the next Battlefield. Thank you for playing 2042, blah, blah, blah. See you next time. 2, which I doubt, but you never know. There's going to be a Season 7 and 8. Or 3, and this is what I would do. If indeed there will be no Season 7 and 8, and DICE are moving along to the next Battlefield title, then a parting gift is, I think, the way forward and one to keep the remaining player base happy. So what is the parting gift? It could be a bunch of Portal maps. Classics which we've been longing for since the launch of this game. That would do me fine. It even could be, and I really doubt it, a Battle Royale mode within Portal. And I know this one is controversial because there are so many Battlefield players out there who just don't want one. And they will say that we had Firestorm and it wasn't a success. Firestorm suffered a terrible fate where it just wasn't supported, very much like Hazard Zone. So, in my opinion, no, Battlefield have not really tried a Battle Royale right now. The business model, it has to be free to play for it to succeed. And the only reason I say this is because Battlefield 2042, without a shadow of a doubt, I think was always supposed to be a BR game. The evidence is there, and it's just pretty clear to see. 2042 was going to be a BR, and Portal was going to run alongside it to keep all the OG fans happy with remastered maps from classic Battlefields with Conquest and Rush. It makes so much sense. If you look at the state of the launch and how barren the maps on 2042 are, I think that again indicates a change in direction and a very rushed product. And how do we know there's not just a fantastic map that DICE built for a BR sat there unused? Look, I know that might have got a bunch of you excited. I don't think that will happen at all because I think it will probably happen in the next game. Which one of those theories, if any, do you think DICE will do? Or have you got your own? Leave a comment down below. I feel like if they just say that's it, that's just not gonna cut it. So that brings me on to my next point, the Battlefield universe we've heard so much about. Well, a little bit about. We know so far that we've got a minimum of 3 different studios working on the next Battlefield vision. a reimagined Battlefield. But first, let's just look, for those of you who maybe don't know, what reimagined actually means. To imagine again or in a different way. That's the definition. If you interpret that within Battlefield, it could mean that they want to imagine again how BF3 was or Bad Company 2 and deliver that for the next Battlefield. Or they want to go a completely different way, and we can talk about both. Let's first start with Ridgeline Games, who is the new studio based in Seattle, headed by Marcus Letho, who of course was a co-founder of Halo and the Halo universe. Now, we know that they are working on a single player element for the next Battlefield. And then, of course, we've got the legends at Ripple Effect, who are working on their own segment of the Battlefield franchise, something completely new. And DICE Stockholm will be handling the multiplayer element. So you combine that all together in one game, and I think it's a little bit overkill. This almost says to me we may see something new Battlefield related in 2024, or at least get a big sniff of it. It's whether the studios are working individually on different release dates, or they're working on three elements that will all come together as one. But what we do know is they will exist in the same universe, which means they'll be linked. This is a theory that I'm bringing forward of what I think may happen. Of course, I'd like to see all elements come together to make one big release, but as a business model in the Battlefield universe, I think that might be overkill and it won't happen. Personally, I think Ridgeline Games should release the single player element of the next Battlefield installment, which probably will be a complete relaunch, and it will be just called Battlefield. I've said this for so long. I think we're not going to get a Battlefield 6 or 7 or 8, whatever. It will just be named Battlefield. Completely relaunch it. Now, the worry there is, have they forgotten everything that came before it? So basically, all the lore, everything we know from BF4 to 2042 to the Bad Company guys, everything before, will they be forgotten and that's it? Draw a line and start again? It all depends on this reimagination that they're doing. It would be a hell of a shame if they did and we never ever got to see a Bad Company 3, but who knows? We'll see. So the single player game comes, and whatever it may be, builds us up towards the next installments, which could be 2025, and the perfect time for Ripple Effect to deliver a free-to-play battle royale with a live service. Take care of that. The Ridgeline single player campaign will have eased us into that, and hopefully some lore will be created and we can explore it via the battle royale. Yes, very much like the Call of Duty Fortnite business model. Maybe launching after or at the same time as the BR would be DICE Stockholm's next multiplayer vision for Battlefield. And this is where you would hope to see DICE remembering the history of what made Battlefield great. Server browsers, mass destruction, sandbox, all of that we know and love. And all that sounds almost too good to be true, but do you know what? It is, and it's what we're getting. The reason I say 2 years and 2025 is because it's such a massive project that they've got to get right. 2024, a year from now, just seems a little bit too soon. I know the different studios have had meetings and they're all probably, well, hopefully, on the same page with the vision, and they've got the blueprint and the business model to go forward. It will be so nice just having DICE work on the multiplayer we all love so much, and different studios taking the reins for different elements of the Battlefield universe. We know that EA is going all in on Battlefield and really want to cement the next decades, from their own words, decades of the Battlefield franchise. Yeah, we might have to wait, but all good things come to those who wait, and I am actually excited when you dig deep. And believe me, we could go deeper, but videos can only be so long, all right? Yes, there have been a lot of new developers who worked on 2042 who maybe didn't work on previous Battlefields. And yes, we know a lot of senior devs did leave DICE. And yes, we did have COVID as well. And maybe 2042 changed direction mid-development, which all led to what we have now. And if you take all of that and really think about it, they did a great job on this game. The thing with developers, it's all experience and all about momentum. Taking the forward momentum from the end of 2042 and moving that into the next Battlefield. My only worry, like I've touched on earlier, is that if they completely relaunch, which I think they will, with the title Battlefield, never forget where you came from. What made Battlefield great. So next we've got me. Content creators. What are we going to do? I've been in this situation before where DICE stopped supporting a game and then I'm kind of left in limbo with nothing to do, bearing in mind that I am a dedicated Battlefield channel now. Always have been, really, but definitely now. I'll be fine. I'll still be here waiting and delivering news and gameplay whenever I can for you guys. But what I always do, and I will say this, I see the negative and the downsides to everything, but then I put my own take on it and I always try look at the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Otherwise, I would go insane and just be like other people moaning, and I just don't want to do it. In an ideal world, and I'm hoping the next Battlefield brings that, we have a great live service, rich, full of content, and something that just keeps the players interested every single day. Like I've said, Fortnite and games like that do it so good, where you want to log on every day because something is new, fresh, and exciting. And that is the business model which works today. That's what Battlefield deserves. It blows my mind that they haven't yet got it right. Shortly after Battlefield 1 was launched, I think the next year maybe, Fortnite was, and the whole business model for games developers changed then. So from 2017, DICE really have been playing catch up, and let's be honest, struggled massively. BF5 and 2042. So if you take it by that, third time's the charm, and they'll get it right this time. Either way, a very exciting time to be a Battlefield player, like I've said, and the future is bright because it has to be. All right, guys, thank you for the chat. I will see you again in another video. Until then, take care of yourselves. Peace. All right, guys. So what did you think about that? Let's open a discussion in the comments section. I will look forward to anything that you've got to say, and I will try my best to read them as always. Take care. See you soon. Peace.